Good morning, everybody. To you, good morning, hola, bonsoir. I think it's covered pretty much all of it, like you're here. So I'm very much looking forward to giving my first webinar here with the Malt Academy. And let's jump right in here because time is very valuable, even this times. Today, we will be talking about growth marketing for freelancers. So that's me. As you can see, I've grown my Corona beard here during the last weeks and months, or like beard, not really, but yeah, it's getting there. My wife likes it. That's actually not my name right here. So for some reason, my parents preferred to spell my name without the H, which is here in Germany very unusual and uncommon. So this is always a great introduction, and people will not forget me when the first time I correct them how my name is actually written. I'm working as a marketing consultant, coach, and author. And I was working as a trainer as well in pre-Corona times, you know, when we had these things where we came together and we learned stuff together. That was fun. And we also did a lot of meetups. So we are now getting all this offline stuff in the virtual world and trying to make it work well offline. And, you know, basically me talking the camera like today. So let's give you a quick introduction about myself. I am here in Frankfurt, Germany, where I was born and raised, but I've also studied in the United States for a couple of months, no, actually for 4 months. I was working in the media planning business, then in the entertainment business with TV Total in Cologne, and I've had my fair share of corporate insights when I was working for Messe Frankfurt, who is one of the biggest trade show organizers worldwide. I was there for 3 years, and then I said I had enough of this, well, let's say, a rather conservative and political surrounding, and I became a freelancer, finally, which is now 5 years ago, 5.5 actually. And since then, I'm working as a freelancer, as a speaker, as I mentioned, for some companies, like, for example, the Deutsche Bahn, the German train system, for some banks, for chemical and pharmaceutical companies, but also lots of startups, lots of smaller companies, various sizes and industries. And I've been, you know, working as an interim manager, which so I am there for some couple of months, even for over a year sometimes, as well as you know, on hourly rate. So that is the reason why I call myself an author. I've written actually 3 books. This is the relevant one. It's about growth hacking. This came out 2017. Second edition just came out now. Unfortunately, just in German, but I took it on myself and translated it to English. And if you want to learn more about growth hacking in general, so this is actually how it looks like as a printed version, but this is unfortunately just in German. If you know German, if you want to learn German, you can also have this one. But most of you probably don't want to learn German because it's not really fun. So the English version is an ebook, and you can actually get this ebook, win this ebook. We will raffle 5 examples of them. And if you want to do so, just share your most important learning as a freelancer, you know, whatever you have learned, what are your best things you got, what happened to you during your time as a freelancer, or what are you proud of, for example. Be so kind, post it on LinkedIn or Twitter, tagging Malt and myself, and use the hashtag #ThinkGrowth so we can actually find the post. And as I said, the 5 best, most funny, I don't know, most innovative, we'll pick some random 5 of you and send them the copy if you want to. Alrighty, today we will be talking about this thing. This is what we've invented this basically. That's called the growth hacking canvas. Probably some of you know or already have heard about the business model canvas or the value proposition canvas. What it is, it's basically a piece of paper, like you can see here, which you can print out, hang on the wall. It's a checklist which gives you the room for your own ideas, and it basically guides you through this process. And we have invented this canvas during our, and when I say our, I mean me and one of my partners, during our consultations of companies this is actually our starting point, just to make the status quo, to see where the company is right now, what are their challenges, and then to get into this thinking of growth hacking and marketing. And this is actually what I would like to present to you today, and we will go through this canvas today, and so we can come up with nice ideas to grow our own business, which is, like, let's face it, critical in times like this. So the canvas itself, it has actually two parts. The first one, the upper part, which is now marked in the bright blue, is the status quo. So this is basically where you are now and what you want to reach. And the second part at the bottom here, that's actually the growth hacking, growth marketing part, where we come up with new ideas how to get new leads and new customers. Actually, I am, as you can see, or better say here, I'm talking rather fast, and I will be using some marketing words, terms. If you don't know them, if you have any questions, just jump into the chat. We have a FN question tab at the bottom, and Leah will be so kind to collect those questions, and I will answer them in the end. So what is this any use for you? Actually, this helps you because everybody of us is in sales, everybody is in marketing. Probably most of you are not in marketing, at least not selling it for your clients. But we all have, as freelancers, we all have to do stuff which we actually don't really want to, but we have to. Like bookkeeping is my thing. I try to outsource as much as possible. And sales and marketing is for other people. Similar to like bookkeeping is for me. We have to do it. We have to be present. We have to get new clients, and we have to get out there. And the growth canvas is a tool which hopefully will help you to do this. Why is that? Because it will help you focus. There's so many options out there, what you could do in order to get your business growing and to get more clients. Like everybody is talking about, you can go on social media, go on LinkedIn, do webinars, go to meetups, go to conferences, and go do a blog, do a podcast. Podcast is so in right now. So lots of options, but the problem is your time is the most important resource. And you can't, especially as a freelancer, you can't do everything, even if it's fun. And that's really a problem for me because I like this stuff and I like to do everything, but that's really not a good point. It's really not getting me anywhere. So focus on the most important things. And which are the most important things? Well, I don't know. So this is why we have the canvas, in order to find this one channel which is really working for you, and this one way where you should do your marketing. So let's jump right into it. And today, for this example, we all are a freelance developer, because I don't know what you're actually doing. So Leah told me there are a lot of developers on Malt, so hopefully some of you are a developer. But whatever your business is, this works for everyone. So we just use this as an example, okay? So first of all, the first field of the canvas is the value proposition. This is what you'll be actually bringing to the table. This is what you do for your client. As a developer, you are a flexible, error-free, and reliable developer using Java with an agile approach. This is basically your positioning. This is basically your pitch, if you want to say so. And this is what every one of us should be able to do, is to tell in one easy-to-understand sentence what the hell you are doing, what you are selling, and what's the value for your client. Second one is segment or persona. So this is actually the guys and the people you are being sold to, who are hiring you. In this case, it might be the IT department manager in medium-sized companies that do not have sufficient capacity for the amount of orders they're actually fulfilling. And let's face it, in the IT world, that's always the case. Like, you never have enough people. And then we go to the wow moment. So the wow moment, what's that? That is the moment actually where your client really gets it. Like, he realizes, oh, it was a really good idea to hire this girl or boy in my company. And in this case, it might be that the smooth onboarding and integration into the existing team structure, right? Our developer, let's call him Paul, for example, he goes into the client, he works with the team, and from day one he can start contributing. He works great. He knows the in and outs of the job, and he can, really smoothly go work with the team. That's the wow moment. Should be happening actually after this wow moment should be happening as soon as possible for everybody. So you want to get really quickly there. In general, it takes like a couple of weeks for probably for most freelancers, so they can actually show and demonstrate their value to the client. Field number 4 is the competition. And this is, of course, for us permanent employees, who are actually working there for some reason. Other freelancers, these are our direct competitors, because the client is actually choosing not only you, but he is, having a wide variety of other people who he might hire. He might also outsource the entire project completely abroad, and maybe he can automate it. That meaning that there are lots of tools out there who can make our job easier, yes, but who can also get rid of us, at least in parts. Depending on actually what you're doing, that is more or less the case for you. And then we have something which is called the North Star metric. So the North Star metric, as it's included in the name, it's a metric which is like you're working as a compass. This is something you are actually aiming for all the time. And this, for you as a freelancer, this could be the amount of book days, which is fine, but it's just, really focused on yourself. If you would do a metric like the contract renewals, like how often does a existing customer book you again, this would shift the focus from you to the client side. And by that, you make it actually user-centric, customer-centric. And your thinking starts to switch from it's about me, to it's about the customer. What can I do for my client, for my customer, to make him or her renew my contract and to do the next project and the next project? And I think as a freelancer, since the last 5 years, this has been my experience, that there's nothing as important as happy clients and a good network for recommendations. So this is why I would actually choose the contract renewals, do the client approach about this. Objectives. So what is important? What should I focus on? In this case, it's retention. Existing customers are satisfied and book again and again and recommend me, which is also important for if my client or the people I work with, they might actually go to another company and then look again for freelancers to support them. So this is why the people are actually the most important thing. People are more important than the companies, because people might switch companies and then you keep one client, meaning one person, even if he or she goes to another company. So retention is our most important goal, especially right now during Corona times. What other metrics are important for you and how you can measure your success? Your daily rate or your hourly rate, if you have one. Of course, this should go up along with your expertise, along with your knowledge, and along with the positive effect you can bring to the table and you can help your client with. Also, the percentages of the book days you have. Like you have so many days, let's say 200 per year, and let's see how many of them you want to have booked, fully booked and billable booked, and how many you actually get to book. All right, this was the first part, the upper part of this growth hacking canvas. Let's go to the second part. And in the second part, we will actually think about different ideas which we can use in order to get more clients, more leads, and to fill our sales pipeline. And as you can see, we have 6 fields here, and we'll go through all of them, and these fields are separate parts of the customer journey. What I mean with that, let's jump right into it and I will tell you. First field is awareness. And this is about how does the client know I exist and what I bring to the table. So this is everything which brings me out there and shows people, yes, this is me, this is Thomas, here's what I do, and this is what I am helping you with. First of all, of course, it's platforms like Malt, okay, that's really self-explaining. if you are on these platforms like Malt, this is where people will actually go to. They will do research for people. They're actually already looking for freelancers. They know who they are looking for. They know which problems they have, and they will do the research on platforms like Malt. So be there. And of course, for some of you, it might make a lot of sense to have your own highly professional, well done and designed website. Because welcome, we are living in the world 2020, and online is kind of a thing, and it's not going away anytime soon. So I would, even if you're not in the marketing business or if you're not in the web design business, have somebody to do at least a one-page website for you. Helps a lot. Then we have professional social networks like Xing. This is relevant for you working in the DACH region, meaning in the German, Austrian, or Swiss region. It's basically German LinkedIn. And of course, then there is, well, LinkedIn. So make a lot of sense to go there because this network is growing like crazy in the recent month. And when I say be there, it's not only, just not have your profile there, but make it really stand out, make it really well, and go out and reach out to people who might help you or who might actually be your clients. You can also try to use the groups in these networks, but from my experience, the groups on LinkedIn are not as interactive, not as engaging like on Facebook, for example. And Facebook, although it's of course not a B2B network, but a B2C network, might actually make a lot of sense for some of you as well, depending on who are your clients. Then we have the next field, which is acquisition. Acquisition is the part where people know you and then they get in touch with you, meaning they get on your profile, they get on your website, they give you a call or something like this. And therefore, it makes sense not only have a profile, but have an excellent profile. So that you can actually get found when people are looking for somebody of your profession. So you have to have an eye on what your photo looks like. And I would really recommend to hire, yes, it costs money, hire a professional photographer or somebody in your network who knows how to do great photos and just make some great photos. It's also really important to keep an eye on the texts and the keywords. And keywords are these kind of search terms, what people actually looking for. In order to do this, you have to get back to your persona, you remember, in this case, the IT manager, and understand what he or she would be looking for while searching on LinkedIn, if they would be searching for IT freelancer or Java developer. So, and you have to make sure that whenever somebody is searching for, in this case, Java developer, your name comes up, your profile comes up, and you can be found and booked. It might make sense to start your own blog or podcast. Again, this has a lot of value. It's a rather long-term opportunity, but especially a podcast is very time-consuming. So before you start this, make sure you have the time, maybe do a project like I will do this for 8 weeks or 10 episodes or something like this and see the effect of it. Because we are listing here lots of ideas, and this is not a complete list. We're just listing here ideas which might be valuable to you, but we have to test them and to see if it really makes sense, if there's one channel with this which fills out our pipeline of new leads. So you shouldn't do all of this. I will explain later. You shouldn't do all of this. This is just a list of ideas which you might consider. And then again, you should do active networking on conferences, when there are conferences again, and on LinkedIn, meaning actually outreaching and searching for people, talking to them, getting to know them who might be interesting for you. Next up is activation. Let's have the people fill out a form to get to talk to you in some case. In order to do so, you might want to integrate an online appointment tool like Calendly or Harmonizely. I've been working this since the last couple of months, actually very nice because it gets rid of this email ping pong, let's talk with each other. Yeah, okay, let's do so. How about Thursday? Thursday is great, but only in the afternoon. How about 3 o'clock? Doesn't work. Let's do 4. and then you have emails going forth like this. With Calendly, that's pretty easy. You just send your lead a link, and he or she can just book a time whenever you are available. That's pretty easy. What also helps a lot when you include references and testimonials on your website and on your LinkedIn profile, because it gives people just social proof. Social proof meaning we as humans, we feel safe in a group, and we don't want to be the first one trying out something new, most of the times at least. So whenever I hire someone, I want to make sure that he or she is doing a good job. How do I know? I don't, except for that other people tell me. And when you include your best testimonials and your best references in your profile and on your website, I know that, hey, look at this. There are 10 people who had the exact same problems, and it was solved pretty nicely with Paul here. So I will more likely hire Paul than if this wouldn't be the case. Actually, if you are maybe, I don't know, if you're doing offering your services on platforms like Upwork or Fiverr or something like this, that's also, of course, a great, very, very important part of getting new clients. Positive evaluations, yeah, that's more or less the same thing. Proven Expert is also a platform which you might want to check out. It's a third-party platform where you can have a nice profile there, and you send your clients to your profile on Proven Expert and ask them nicely for a recommendation and 5 stars. Referral, and again, this is probably one of the most important steps for you, because we believe in people. We are, as freelancers, we are in a people business first and foremost. So we kindly have to ask for recommendations. And this might work for, and this actually is something you could do now, is ask your former customers, former clients for a recommendation, a public recommendation in their network or online. They know you, they've been working with you, they know the results you can bring, and whenever they actually recommend you, that makes a lot of sense, and this could help you. When you're actually in a project, I have had the experience that it makes a lot of sense to do this talk with current clients when we are talking about the contract extension, because then I know they're happy with my work, they're satisfied with that. And then it's a great time to ask them kindly and nicely for a recommendation on my LinkedIn page. And again, it does make sense also to ask recommendations from colleagues, being other employees at the company or other freelancers which you have worked with. Again, this is social proof. It's a bit the more the better. You know, it has to be believable, of course. It has to be qualitative. Quality is a big, very important step with this. But if you have a good network, good colleagues, and people who help you, you might also want to ask them for a recommendation. Retention. Retention is the question, how can we get the second project, the third project? So here's some ideas which might help you to do this. You can stay top of mind with your clients if you send them something individual printed, like t-shirts or mugs. You can send them personal letters, and this is interesting because personal letters, by snail mail, not emails, just letters. This is something we all hated back in the day, and then email came, and email was like, wow, that's cool, that's trendy, and now we all have enough of email. And whenever I get a personal letter or even a postcard, I'm like, oh, that's so special. It feels really, really awesome. He or she had to make time to write this with his or her own hand. And that makes it just important. So writing personal letters can really make a big impact. Also, and that's the online version, a public shout out. When you really like a client, and you can go on LinkedIn, on Twitter or somewhere else and tell the world how great it was having worked with the clients, or especially working with the people you are reaching for. Because then you will tell the world, hey, look at those guys, these are great, work with them, and it might even bring your client, other clients, and partners. So this is just some ideas. List them up as much as you know and as much as comes to your mind. Revenue, how can you make more money? Well, you could list references and customers of companies which are more or less like famous or everybody knows, because the more that's a bit weird, but the more famous a company really is and the more established it's on the market, it looks like the better job you have done, because we think that, okay, well, he was working for Google, and I know that Google is really picky when it comes to their own employees. So he has probably done a good job for Google. And this is why you might be able to ask for a higher daily rate as it would be just for some company who nobody knows, even though you did a better job maybe on the project for the company nobody knows. But that's, fame, fortune, fun. Certifications, this might help. I know this is especially important in countries like Austria and a bit here also in Germany. In other countries, it might not be as important. But for some companies, it really helps when people can show and document, like, hey, look at this. I did this course, I had these qualifications, and I was studying here, and blah, 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 blah. If clients know this, need to know this, just show them. And then you could outsource yourself or automate it yourself. This, of course, is something which you should do in the back and not be only showing to the client. But of course, you might be getting help from other freelancers, from other agencies, or you might work with tools with help you doing your job and doing your job fast and quicker, so you can actually bill your usual rate, but don't have to work for the entire day or the entire hour, because you have people or tools which might help you. And in the end, this is how you earn more money, because you can get more projects. So, and then if you do all this, you have something like this. This is like the result at the end. This might be the filled out canvas for our developer. And again, this is just put on all the ideas you have right here, because in the next phase, it's about prioritizing your ideas. You have to know which of these ideas are like easy to realize, to set up, and which might be the most, make the most impact. And for order to do this, you have to get into testing. So this is why I would really warn you not to start your own podcast because you feel like it, but because, just make small steps. Start with things you can really test, like being active in a group of your industry experts, which includes lots of your clients. Making networking on virtual events like virtual conferences, for example, or you're hosting a webinar, doing an interview and stuff, but doing it in small steps, and do not think like I will rule the world with this great idea, because again, time is the most important and valuable resource for freelancers like us. So make small step and try to test your ideas. Don't do everything at the same time, but do it after another and after you've tested your stuff. So this is the growth hacking canvas. I think this is the easiest way to get into the kind of marketing growth hacking for freelancers. I hope you're all still there, because I didn't check. And Leah, hopefully you might help me now.
Yes, of course. So thank you. We had a couple of questions regarding your job. Amaury wants to know, what services do you actually sell to companies? Is growth hacking something clear for them? And what is your value proposition?
Yeah, if people actually know what growth hacking is, they're really my clients. But most of the time, actually, yes, I have to educate, because it's a fine small niche, and I have to educate people what the hell it is. And it's basically the core what you've just seen. It's it's agile dynamic marketing. It's not spending lots of money at one point and see afterwards what's happening if something happened, but making small steps, testing and learning. If you're in the IT field, it's a little bit like Scrum for marketing. And I will be doing, so we are doing consulting and actually supporting. So we are doing both the strategy and the operative things if they need. But usually we are educating.
Sorry. The second part of the question, or the follow-up question, was, how does your role differ from a head of digital marketing inside of a company?
That depends on the country, on the company. because as I said, most companies have this traditional point of view and they think in big campaigns, which whereas a big campaign is like 3 to 4 weeks, lots of channels, lots of money, and then praying that it helps. Where we are saying it's not the big, you have to be quicker. You must not think in big campaigns like this, but in smaller steps. Be active all the time, but make smaller steps, smaller campaigns, which actually are much cheaper than your big campaigns, of course, and you are learning faster. You are learning faster about the methods and the channels which work for you, which get you the results you want to.
Amaury has a comment about this, saying not startups, you talk about big corporates.
Sorry?
Then we have another question. Do you have a tip on how to define a clear value proposition?
There's the value proposition canvas to do this, which might help. It's not by me, it's by a strategizer. So this is a template you might use. In general speaking, it's what you do for your client. And if you have trouble of answering this, which I'm pretty sure you have, because everybody has this at some point, actually it might help to talk to your clients or wannabe clients and ask them. Because if you ask them, you will get the exact words they use how to describe what you can bring to the table. And this helps a lot. What I did is I asked, I think like 10 people in my network. There were some clients, there were some, of course, some friends, some business partners, people who know me pretty well, people who know me barely. And I asked them about how they see me, how they see my offer. And this is a very, very interesting insight to getting all these different perspectives about me.
You described the wow moment as a human moment instead of a technical moment, which I want expecting, meaning the wow moment is about if the client actually relates to us freelancers rather than if they are happy with our work. Why is that?
I'm trying to understand the question here. So the wow moment, I don't know whether you mean this, but the wow moment actually is a term which came up in the software and startup world, of course, where you have, when you're using a tool, you sometimes have this wow moment where you really understand how the tool is working for you. That's the reason, for example, why you need I think to follow like 10 people when you sign up on Twitter, so that you see the newsfeed and you see actually something happening. For us as freelancers in this case, the wow moment might, for me, it's really the moment when the client gets it and understands what you bring to the table, that he or she is satisfied with your work. This is why it should be as quick as possible happening. This can be, I've just talked to a colleague of mine who was running an agency, and he said that his first wow moment is actually his offer, because they are doing their offers and proposals with such great care, and they're so neatly designed, and they're just looking amazing. They saying when we come to the point where we actually send out the offer, most of the times we get the client, we get the deal closed, because the offers are just so great, and so they have their wow moment really, really quick.
Thank you for this yes, thank you for the clarification.
Yeah.
This was perfect. Then another person asked, can we get a copy of the canvas table you showed?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. Thank you for this. Yes, you can. Please just drop me a line on LinkedIn or on Twitter, and I'll send you the link via email or via direct mail. And that's important thing, that's Thomas without the H. So Thomas Herzberger, that's why I show this, without the H with Thomas.
That is also answering the question from Charlie. I'm thinking, do you have examples of tools that can help us? So I would say.
Tools?
Yes.
What kind of tools? I have so many tools. What do you need? So I mentioned Calendly or Harmonizely, which I'm using for doing online appointments, which is really helpful. Like for automation, yeah. So, well, it depends really what you want to do. And automation is a big field. If you have your own CRM system where you manage all your clients, you could use HubSpot, for example, who's doing a great job of putting everything together. But this is mostly used not by freelancers, but by small agencies, because it gets expensive at a certain point, and there are other things. You should, when you're interested in automation, you should definitely have a look at Zapier. You might know this. This is quite a popular tool, and it actually helps you combine two different tools to each other. For example, you can connect this with your website, and every time somebody fills out a form, he or she, the contact data gets via Zapier, gets into a Google Sheet. What I also really have been playing with is automation on LinkedIn, which helps you to broaden your network, to extend your network, and to find the better leads, better clients. And tools for doing so is LinkedIn Sales Navigator, which is done by LinkedIn. And another tool is called Phantom Buster, which is quite powerful. And actually, this has to be used with care, because this can be doing really good things, but it also, if you overdo it with automation, it explodes. And I'm careful with automation actually, because as a freelancer, I don't need like, well, at least for my field, I don't need like hundreds of clients. I just need like 5, and not even at the same time. So for me, it's actually automation where it helps, yes, but personalization is much more important. You know, things like writing a letter, things like reaching to the phone and saying, hey, how are you doing? Reaching out to people, because for me, it might be totally different for you, but for me, it's a personal people business. And this is why I'm careful with automation for myself. But again, it might really help.
Thank you. We had a comment from there saying Zapier is great. And then also a question, what did you do in times when freelancing offers didn't come easily?
A lot of more sports, because I have a lot of more time. When actually at the beginning of my career, this is really the point, because I had a big client, which is working very nicely for me the first 3 or 4 months, and then the project ended without the client actually telling us, which was another problem. So I was at the start of my freelancing career without a network, without references, and without a client. And this is really tough. What I found out that it helps going out, you know, being present, going to networking and telling everybody, hey, here I am, this is what I do, because things will happen. And this is why I recommend using social media. It raises the chances of good things happening. In the end, you have to kind of push through, because bad times will happen. But in the last 5 years, at least from my experience, also the good times will happen. So, and if you're getting used to this, you know, back and forth, which is kind of always, it loses the, it doesn't make you as afraid as it does in the beginning, because the waves are getting smaller and not like this here, especially like emotional, because you're really at the beginning, you're really afraid. I don't have clients. I don't know how to pay rent. How should I do this? And you will get in this, yeah, like now is also a time when most of us actually do have this problem, and this will happen. This will always happen. That's part of the job, unfortunately. It does help when you have several sources of income. And don't write a book, by the way. You're not getting any money with writing a book. But if you have, for example, an online course, which might give you some money, if you have some kind of business at the side, if you are doing, like I said, interim business which is for many months, and again, some consulting, which is for hours, for example. What I'm doing right now is I'm working together with So we were partnering up with WeWork Labs, which is an accelerator incubator for startups, to help them, again, for us, making our products better, getting reputation, getting recommendations, getting some money. And I don't know how to talk this in English, actually, but there is a chance to get money from the state, from the government, not just given just like that, but investing into consulting projects. And I don't know where you are actually located right now, but I'm pretty sure there's also some kind of this. Yeah, if you have the name, if they have term, I just don't come up with it right now. But if you have this kind of an investing by the public authorities, that's also be a great way to get into this pool of people who might be able to get this money, and because clients will find you on this pool, and so the state or the government will pay for at least parts of your project. This might also help because it lowers the burden for you and the client, for the client especially, in terms of money.
Are you talking about the program Go Digital? Is a follow-up question
like
on this?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, in Germany, it's Go Digital is one of the things. In Germany here now, the Department of Economics has also started something similar. Again, this is depending on your region and of your country, because some of those initiatives are just very, very local, might even be of your own city. Yeah, but Go Digital is some of it here in Germany.
There is another follow-up question. As a freelancer, how important is it to have a website, given that most interactions are happening on LinkedIn or Xing or Malt or similar platforms?
Yeah, as I said, I think it's very important. You have to have your website. Why is that? LinkedIn might change. LinkedIn might go away. Facebook might change or go away. I had this discussion actually with some of my clients when Facebook really became huge here in Germany, and they said, hey, why should I invest in my website? I have a Facebook page and we have like thousands and millions of followers. It's fine, right? And I've got free reach. Why should I get my own website? And then Facebook changed its algorithm, and now they are reaching like 10% with every post without paying, And so I would, especially as a freelancer, I would try to be as independent from everybody else as possible. And this is the reason why you would have to have your own website and your own email list, because these things can't be taken away from you, no matter what Google does, what LinkedIn does, or what Facebook does. And then also for me, at least, it's some kind of, certification. Like I want to see that he or she's able, if I would thinking about hiring somebody, I would definitely check out the website as a source of the kind of professionalism and quality he or she can deliver. This is for me more important as a certificate, for example. And it doesn't have to be like really fancy. It just be a one-pager where you just list who you are, what you do, and who you've worked with. And if that's it, that's completely fine. But I would be like to having someone. And a contact form, of course, just to give you, that clients can send you a note or give you a call.
All right. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah.
Just one more thing, in terms of website, you don't have to hire an agency or something like this. I mean, just jump, really. It's so easy these days. Jump onto Squarespace, Jimdo, Wix or something like this. And there are templates there, which is so easy to use, and you can put up your own website within a day, easily. And when you have your own name as your domain, it's not even that costly. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Thomas. This was great. I hope you all took a lot from it. Please feel free to reach him on LinkedIn for the Canvas tool. And if you have more questions on Malt, reach out to me, community@malt.de. And also feel free to talk about Malt Academy to all around you. And maybe if you want to share your knowledge, your expertise, apply as a speaker. We're always looking for great speakers. And what else did I want to say and mention? big shout out to Thomas, of course. And also,
thank you.
Don't forget about the raffle. And if you want to participate, share the hashtag and mention us in your Twitter or LinkedIn comments.